Hi, it's Professor Davis. I've got your topics checklist here for sections 10.6 and 11.2. So we're finishing off chapter 10 here with our final topic on modeling. So this is a topic you can take advantage of in many different courses where you have independent and dependent variable data. So in this section, we want to put our data, normally we put our independent variable values x in y1, the y values, the dependent variable values in L2, and then we want to find out which one of these models works the best, whether it be linear. And by the way, when you're selecting the linear model, I'll show you that in a minute, you want to pick the linear regression model that reads a plus bx to be consistent with what we're using with the textbook here. And then there's the quadratic regression model, ax squared plus bx plus c. That's under quadreg. And we get to all those by hitting Stat and going over to the Calc menu. And then the logarithmic model, lnreg, the exponential model, expreg, and then finally the power model, pwrreg. And I'll show you this at the end of this statcast here. We want to turn on the diagnostics in order to get the coefficient of determination for all these models. The one that gives the coefficient of determination closest to 1 is usually the best model that we want to use for the data. And then we move along to section 11.2. Section 11.2 begins our discussion of the chi-square distribution. So you want to read over the properties of the chi-square distribution. It's a distribution that is, by its nature, skewed to the right and works well with the kind of tests that we're going to work here, the categorical tests. I have a statcast on computing chi-square tests of goodness of fit when the expected frequencies are equal. That's in the statcast area. You can check that out. And we also want to be able to compute a hypothesis test when the expected frequencies are not equal. That's where we simply take the sample size of the observed values and then multiply it by the proportion of the expected values, and then we can move along with the test, kind of like with the previous try. So for homework in section 10.6, we want to do problems 3 through 11 odd, starting on page 573. In section 11.2, problems 5 through 11 odd and 17 starting on page 594, and that's section 11.2 there. And now I wanted to talk real quick about how we could use our calculator to find the coefficient of determination. I've entered some data in the calculator here. Let me show it to you. Some X and Y data, and this is from your textbook on the number of traffic fatalities. I've let L1, the X values, be the number of years since 1970. The first value listed is 1975. The next value listed is 1980, so that's why we put a 10 there for X. And the number of fatalities are in list number 2. Now let's say, for example, we want to do an exponential fit. Notice if I do it right now, I'll hit the Stat button, go over to Calc, and then go down to exponential reg, expreg, hit Enter, and we have to specify our list here. I'll put second and number 1, then a comma, second and number 2. Notice right now, if I compute the regression model, it gives me back the coefficient A, and then the base of the exponent B, but it doesn't give me the coefficient of determination. That is what we want to use to find the model of best fit. So to fix that, here's what we do. Hit the second key and hit number 0 to go to the catalog, and we want to turn the diagnostic on. So to do that, I'm going to scroll down to the D's. You can either just hit the down arrow key. I'm going to hit the alpha key and then the D key, and that'll scroll me down to where the D's are, alpha and D. And then if I just scroll down a little bit here, I'll get to the diagnostic on, and I'll just go ahead and hit Enter, and then let me do that one more time. First time calls it up, the second time enables it. We never have to do this again, by the way. You only have to do this one time. Now notice, let me clear the screen here, and I'll go ahead and do the regression again. Go to Stat, over to Calc, scroll down here to Exponential Fit, and then specify our lists here, X values in L1, Y values in L2. Now notice when we do the regression, we get the coefficient of determination value, about 0.349 in this case. So we never have to worry about that again, but you have to do it the first time to turn the diagnostics on in order to get the coefficient of determination. So there we go. There's your topics checklist for sections 10.6 and 11.2.